In case you haven't read the title, this is a Batman v Superman review, reaction, spoiler alert right now. I'm telling you, spoiler alerts. There's a shitload of them. Sorry, webcam quality might be a little shitty at the moment. Working on it. This is actually take 3 of me doing this. I did an initial reaction when I came home last night after watching it, and I was so on edge. I was so insane about how upset I was that I was all over the place. Things weren't linear, so I decided to scrap it, and then I made a second one, but then there's some issues with the upload, so that never happened, and now here I am on the third take, instead of using my phone, which has a surprisingly very well camera. It's a brand new S7, very nice camera, but that's irrelevant. So here we are, take 3, using a shitty webcam. Alright, so I'm going to start with the positives, because there's so much about the negative. I'm going to start with the positives that I took out of this movie. This is the review portion of this video. I'll get to the spoilers and negatives later, because pretty much everything that was negative was a spoiler. And all the spoilers were negative. Most of them. I'll say most. Overall, I thought the acting performance was pretty good on the most part. I really did not understand Jesse Eisenberg, though. He does a good job playing a quirky, weird, little, creepy teenager, and that's essentially what he does here. He is crazy. Like, he's not like Lex Luthor, who's like manipulative and he could have been manipulative, I guess, in that sense, but just he didn't seem powerful. He just seemed like a nerdy little mad scientist rather than a big, powerful businessman. Here, I'll get that light out of there. He just did not look or feel the part of Lex Luthor, and that was the part that kind of disappointed me and what I was skeptical about. But he did a good job playing a quirky, weird little teenager, and that's what he's good at. Moving on. Ben Affleck actually did a surprisingly well job playing as a new Batman. I almost don't want to say he's new, because in the movie, now this might be a spoiler, I don't know, depending on what your opinion is, but in the movie, he's already older. He's already a Batman past his prime, like the Dark Knight Returns kind of Batman that we all saw, that the costume kind of represent. Yeah, he's kind of almost at that point. He seems to be in his mid-40s, gray hair. Even Alfred was like, I think you're getting too old for this. You're getting too old to die a young man. I'm like, okay. So even Alfred knows that you're old. Anyway, he did a fairly good job. I was not upset with him being Batman, although I first thought I was going to be upset, but I wasn't. Let's see here. What's his name? Henry Cavill. I can't remember how you say his name, but played Superman again. Obviously, he did not do a bad job. Played, strong, prominent Superman. Same as Man of Steel. So that part, it's really hard to do the positives of this movie, because there's so much bad shit that happened that it's hard to sit here and just pull the good stuff out when there's just so much more to talk about. So, yeah, we'll come back to the positives. I'll redo the positives in a better fashion towards the end here, because the negatives and the spoilers, I had to write it down here on a piece of paper, because I was so all over the place with all my other shit. Now this shit's more linear. It makes more sense the way I'm going to tell it. We'll start off with Lex Luthor not having any motivation to kill Superman. He pretty much is in the movie just to kill it's preconceived knowledge that Lex Luthor and Superman are enemies. Okay, that being said, if you're introducing Lex Luthor as a antagonist, you probably should give him a reason to hate Superman, to kill him, to beat him up, to do whatever. And there's no that. There's no motive. He has his own agenda, but there's no reason. There's really no reason for it at all whatsoever. He's pretty much in the government's pocket, and they're like, oh yeah, well, Superman's getting a little out of control. And then Lex Luthor's like, well, I have a deterrent, blah blah blah. Okay, you know what? He's like, I want access to Zod's dead body. Done. I want access to the alien crash ship that Zod was flying around, that Superman discovered his suit in. Done. You can have it. Pretty much. Other than with the fucking stupid Jolly Rancher shit, I don't know what the hell that was about. So Lex Luthor fucking finger blasts this dude's mouth with a cherry Jolly Rancher. I'm not really sure what that was about. I mean, I guess everybody loves the blue Jolly Ranchers, and that's what Lex Luthor had. He had a bowl of blue Jolly Ranchers and gave the guy a cherry. I don't really know what that means. I don't know if that was symbolism for something, but I didn't quite understand it. Let's see here. And then there's so many plot holes to this movie that it was hard to keep track. I have a whole page of just negatives and a tiny little snippet for the positives, because the negatives were just so huge. Lex Luthor already... Okay, so spoilers. So we'll start the spoilers section right here, I guess. So Lex Luthor already knows that Superman is Clark Kent. He already knows that Batman is Bruce Wayne. I don't know how or why. They don't say it. See, it's a plot hole right there. They don't say how he knows or anything like that, but Lex Luthor knows pretty much the identity of everybody, I guess. So Lex Luthor knows Bruce Wayne's Batman because there's an employee who worked for Bruce Wayne who went on trial. Who went on trial to testify against Superman about the damage he did in Metropolis in Man of Steel, and apparently the guy, Bruce Wayne, was giving him compensation checks for him because this guy was missing his legs because of the incident. And so apparently the checks were being returned with all this red writing on him saying, "You let your family die. How could you let this happen, Batman? How could you let this happen, Bruce Wayne?" But apparently it wasn't the guy who sent those back. It was Lex Luthor who writ all those to further convince Batman that Superman's evil, because Batman thinks Superman's evil throughout the whole movie. Apparently Lex Luthor knows the identity of Clark Kent. He knows about Clark's mom in Smallville. He knows that Lois Lane and Superman already, in the beginning of the film when they're in Africa, because Lois Lane is doing some reporter shit in Africa. Apparently, they already knew then that Superman would show up because somehow Lex Luthor, who already hired these dudes in Africa, they already know that Superman's going to arrive there. So I don't know how. Again, they just don't care to fucking shed light on that, but they just know Superman's going to be there to save Lois Lane. And so the dudes that Lex Luthor hired in Africa shot all these civilians and stuff, and now they're blaming it on Superman. So Lex Luthor's trying to frame Superman for whatever reason, because like I said, he has no motive. So he's just framing him for no reason, to gain access to these materials like Zod's body and the crash ship for no reason. I don't know, it just really does not make sense. But yeah, and Lex Luthor then ends up kidnapping Clark's mom, Superman's mom from Smallville, and uses him to pretty much blackmail into a fight with Batman later in the movie, and that's the Batman v Superman part. But we'll get to that in a little bit more time. Now, while in the middle of the movie... Oh, no, okay, well, I'll go back a little bit. So, just before about the middle of the movie, Batman infiltrates Lex Luthor's... he's tying Lex Luthor to stealing, or to all these, crimes and shit. So, he enters a party as Bruce Wayne, and somehow just sneaks into the basement of Lex Luthor's mansion and was able to attach a hacking device to Lex Luthor's like modems or whatever, and nobody seemed to give a shit. Even Lex Luthor's bodyguard, Mercy Graves, who's in the movie for no reason, pretty much. I'll get to that more too in a little bit. Just let him hack away on his fucking device, pretty much. Like, Batman's like, oh, duh. Oh, I must have had a few martinis. I thought this was the bathroom. Which was stupid. And then she's like, okay, well, the bathroom's upstairs to the right, and then leaves. Okay, yeah, just leaving, again, Bruce Wayne to sit in this room hacking into Lex Luthor's private, confidential, top-secret files. Like, nobody gave a shit. Nobody saw this on security cameras. Like, nobody cared. Mercy was just like, oh, okay, well, bathroom's upstairs, and just let him leave, and just let him stay in the room. Why? I don't know. They don't care. They rushed it. They didn't put, like, any reasoning behind anything in this movie. And that's one of the most disappointing parts, is they didn't put any reasoning behind it. So yeah, anyway, it turns out that the device is then snatched by Wonder Woman, because Bruce Wayne eventually leaves the area, but the files haven't been totally hacked in yet. And Wonder Woman takes the device because she has a picture on there. And we'll get more to the picture in a little bit, because that's more, crazier reveals. So, oh god. So anyway, Batman, through a series of little events, Wonder Woman gives back the hack device to Bruce Wayne, eventually. She's not known as Wonder Woman yet, or anything. They don't even know who she is. She's just some random chick who's showing up here. Anyway, Batman then takes it back to the Batcave and decrypts the files stolen from Lex Luthor, but while he's decrypting, he fucking enters a fucking dream sequence, just out of nowhere. It says, decrypting at 2%, next thing you know, boom, he's in the fucking desert somewhere. Next thing you know, you see what looks to be Metropolis being burned, it's destroyed, fucking beams are coming down from the sky, the planet's like all fucking desert, it's dusty, and Batman is in a duster, and he's in the desert somewhere, and next thing you know, he's about to get a chunk of kryptonite from one of these vans, and it turns out that some of the people that were with Batman in some sort of rebellion, probably like an Injustice setup, the Batman's he's always part of a rebellion at some point. There's always a rebellion, and Batman's always the one leading the rebellion, of course. They did that in Justice League, I remember, in one of the episodes with, like the old cartoon with Vandal Savage. Batman was the leader of a resistance then. They did it in the Injustice video game. Batman's the leader of this resistance. And so that's pretty much what it seems like. Batman is leading a resistance of some sort, but Superman seems to be a tyrant, which, again, goes along with the Injustice storyline, and has guards infiltrate this meeting, and then it's revealed that the kryptonite that Batman was supposed to pick up was a trap. It wasn't kryptonite, it was like, I don't know, a claymore wrapped with some green wire or something, and then Superman's goons show up and they start killing all of Batman's resistance fighters. The next thing you know, Batman pulls out fucking guns. He pulls out a pistol, shoots about 10 guys, steals a fucking machine gun, and guns down about 30 other more people of Superman's, like, soldiers. Which, Batman doesn't use guns. I mean, I guess drastic times now for whatever the world is destroyed, I guess calls for drastic measures. But we'll get more to Batman killing people, because he does actually kill a lot of people outside of this dream sequence. But the action in that scene was actually cool, like the fighting, the choreography, that was all good. But just the overall, the message behind, like the mechanics of the movie were good, but the story, the plot, it's full of so many fucking holes, you might as well call it Swiss cheese or some shit. Anyway, so it is revealed in this dream sequence in the desert that Darkseid is here. You see the big Omega symbol burnt into the ground, which is a reference to Darkseid's Omega Force with his Omega beams and all that good shit. I'm a Darkseid fan, so, I could see that coming, but not now. Not in this movie, not this soon. That's what I don't understand. they're doing this way too early, too much, too fast. That's all I can say. Anyway, and then so Batman's fighting off Superman's goons. And then the parademons show up. The parademons fly down from the sky and start picking up the resistance fighters. However, it doesn't seem like the parademons are fighting Superman's goons. So it looks like there's a tag team with Superman and Darkseid for some reason. I don't know. I didn't really understand that, again, because, let's just flash a glimpse, and yeah, let's just flash a glimpse, and then we'll worry about it in another movie, which is just so fucking stupid. They just should not have put that there in the first place. The whole movie was a setup for future films, but later they already used a card, like they casted a card pretty much that you can't use later on, and I'll get more into that soon. Darkseid revealed in the Nightmare, apparently working with Superman. Superman then rips off Bruce Wayne's or Batman's mask, and then he's like, "You killed her. She was my world," which I'm assuming was Lois Lane. I don't know who else it could have been. I mean, it could have been Superman's mom, but I feel like it was, obviously Lois Lane, and there's a connection to that, again, later on. So then Superman's like, "Oh, is that your minion over there? Bzz. Oh, there's that another resistance fighter? Bzz. And now, Batman, you killed her. You killed Lois Lane, you son of a bitch." And then rips out pretty much Batman's heart. And then he wakes up from the nightmare. But then, he doesn't just wake up from the nightmare. Out of fucking nowhere, bolts of lightning, boom, the Flash. The Flash is there. The Flash is there. There's no reason for him to be there. But the Flash apparently time traveled. He's like, "You were right. You were right about him. You were right about Superman. You were right about this. Lois Lane's the key. Lois Lane is the key." Oh! And then he's gone. Fucking Flash just happened. Why? I don't know. There's no reason to put the Flash there. There's no reason to put the Flash there, but the Flash fucking time traveled and was in the movie. The Flash is hardly a character in this timeline, this universe that they're going with. They have the TV show, but that is completely irrelevant to whatever Zack Snyder or whoever's writing this, whatever their plans are for. It's completely irrelevant. The Flash is barely a character, and boom, you already dropped him right in the middle of the fucking movie. So dumb. There's no reason for that whole scene to be there. There's no reason for that scene to be there. Maybe after the movie was over, maybe you could have thrown it in there, but putting it right in the middle, just pretty much out of fucking nowhere, this scene shows up. God, anyway, moving on. That was the turning point for me in the movie. I was enjoying it up until that point. That point kind of ruined it, but then I eventually kind of got over it, forgot that it even happened, and I was back to the Batman v Superman part of the movie. So, anyway, Lois Lane, who was at the scene in the desert, where Superman showed up, and then he was framed by Lex Luthor. Apparently he killed people, even though Lex Luthor's dudes just shot up a bunch of civilians in the desert. Lois Lane recovers a bullet, which she then takes back to the I don't know, whatever, the Secretary of Defense now, I think he is. I think he's a general in the last Man of Steel movie. I can't remember what his name was. But she gives him the bullet. It's traced back to LexCorp, and then they make a Green Lantern reference there. They're like, "You know what? Why are you interviewing me when Major Ferris is right outside the door," or something. So that's a nod to, the Ferris industry, with Green Lantern, Hal Jordan working for Ferris, and all that stuff. It was just a quick little thing that they threw in there. I noticed it, and I was like, alright, I'll let it pass. Anyway, moving on from that, we're moving into the fight sequence now, but before all that, Wonder Woman is on an airplane heading somewhere, who knows where. It says Turkish Airlines, so I'm assuming she's heading back to the Middle East, which I'm assuming would be Themyscira or Paradise Island, whatever you want to call it, but the land of the Amazons, pretty much. I'm assuming that's where she's heading. Anyway, she gets a text from Batman, or an email, from Bruce Wayne with the decrypted file that reveals that Superman is from World War One. Yeah, she's just in a picture from World War One, which, I mean, I guess I assume because she's, an ancient Greece product, so I know she's obviously, however old, she's from ancient Greece, so that's however long ago, but she's in a World War One picture, and I don't know why. Like, she's just sitting there. She posed for it pretty much too, with all these other World War One heroes. And apparently, she was like trying to. That was the photo she was trying to retrieve from Lex Luthor. Was this World War One photo? But it's like it wasn't even like a secret photo. It's not even like it was taken in the middle of an action sequence. She literally posed for this photo like it was a fucking cover for a fucking magazine. So that was really stupid. I feel like that. If it was that big of a secret, then maybe don't pose for the photo, or destroy the photo or something. I don't know how it's been around all this time without her getting it at some point. I don't know. Anyway, also in those decrypted files, Batman talks about the reveals of the next 3 superheroes to come up in the DC universe, which pretty much is going to set up a Justice League film eventually. Cyborg is in this movie. He's only a head and a torso attached to a wall, and the Doctor. I don't really know that much about Cyborg. Cyborg's not really like one of my most favorite characters, so I don't really care about him as much, and so I don't really know as much about Cyborg. But anyway, there's like the Doctor's working on him. Could be his dad. Could be Vic Stone's dad, could be somebody else, could just be some other scientist, but there's like a Rubik's Cube that's fucking shifting, it's shape-shifting next to him. They don't really talk about that at all, because it's just a quick little snippet. Again, this whole movie is just quick little things to set up for future films. But yeah, then that attaches to Cyborg's body, creates Cyborg. So Cyborg's got like arms and legs and eyes, and he's screaming, and then the scientist cuts the feed of the filming of whatever he was testing. Then you have the Flash again, shows up at this time as a civilian pretty much. He's in a liquor store buying some beer. A guy starts to rob the liquor store, then the Flash zooms over there, knocks him on his ass, and goes back to getting his beer in a blink of an eye, and then the camera, like, EMP explodes. Boom. Next thing you know, Aquaman's the third guy. Aquaman is in, like, the wreckage of some ship. Looks like the Titanic. I mean, I really wasn't paying attention. I only saw the movie once. But he's in a ship wreckage, and there's, like, some submarine drones coming in, filming this, and you see him crawl out, and he actually looks pretty badass. I think they used an actor from the Game of Thrones. I don't know. I didn't watch the Game of Thrones. But I'm pretty sure, I think he was in there. He's a big dude, long black hair, tribal tattoos. Looks very Atlantean. He doesn't look like the typical shiny orange, scaly shirt with the blonde flowing hair. They didn't go that route with the green pants. They gave him, like, he looks more tribal, which I think is cool, because that'll contribute to a more badass Aquaman, rather than him being Aquaman the lame with his... I guess it'd be classic Aquaman, but it's like, I just find it funny because they make fun of him in Family Guy when they do the little Aquaman snippets, and I'd say, yeah, that's kind of a funny way to look at Aquaman, but here they actually make him look like a complete badass, and I was glad to kind of see that. And then these reveals weren't really the part that got me. They didn't really get me angry, because these movies were already kind of announced. If you Google it, they already are filming, they're already planning these movies. But yeah, so that wasn't really a shock to me, but I thought it was really cool that they included it. Because then it's just a precursor to the Justice League, but I have some issues with that, which we're getting to. Now, next thing you know, to go back a little bit, Batman had a dream about his mom getting killed earlier in the film, Martha Wayne, and there's a significance to the name Martha, and that's a part that pisses me off. But anyway, so there's blood in this dream, there's blood oozing from Martha's casket, then a big bat breaks open the casket and bites Batman, and he wakes up. Anyway, so we'll get to more of the Martha thing here in a little bit and why it's so important. Well, Lex Luthor kidnaps Superman's mom, which again, how the hell Lex Luthor knows that's his mom, we don't know. We don't know, but apparently, Lex Luthor knows. Lex Luthor knows everything, I guess. So we don't know there. God, this was disappointing. So yeah, Lex Luthor kidnaps Superman's mom, whose name is also Martha, and I'll explain the connection in the next minute or so here. But anyway, so Lex Luthor blackmails Superman, says, if you don't bring me the head of Batman in 1 hour, I will kill your mom. And that was some more emotional type shit there. Superman, you could see he was getting angry. He was angry. He didn't keep a cool, calm composure like he has throughout the whole movie, but he is angry, and it was really cool to see, I guess. But then he flies over to Gotham to fight Batman. Batman was prepping for this battle. He's got the metal suit on. He's got all these traps set up and stuff. Superman goes over there and tries to explain to Batman about how they have his mom, but Batman's not listening, so Batman just unloads a shitload of artillery, then Superman just pretty much flicks him, boom, Batman goes flying in his fucking metal suit. But then, as the fight progresses, Batman deploys a kryptonite grenade. I almost forgot about the kryptonite here. So Lex Luthor had that little Africa team. They grabbed the kryptonite from wherever, from India, and they don't even really go into the conception of kryptonite, other than the fact that, here's a rock recovered from the wreckage, and hey, let's test it on Zod's body. Why they decided to test it on Zod's body, I don't know. They're just like, all right, we're gonna test this rock on Zod's body, and look at that, it cuts open Zod, a Kryptonian. Well, Superman's a Kryptonian, so the kryptonite can be used as a weapon, a deterrent to end Superman. While Lex Luthor then tries to get his hands on the kryptonite by appeasing to a Senator Finch, who thinks that Lex Luthor is going to use the kryptonite as a weapon against Superman rather than just an alternative in case Superman goes bad. And so during the hearing that I mentioned earlier with the dude in the wheelchair with Bruce Wayne, who was giving him funds, Lex Luthor visited him, gave him a brand new wheelchair to testify against Superman in this meeting. And so what happens is Superman shows up to this meeting with Senator Finch, and next thing you know, Mercy's in there, but Lex Luthor isn't there. Then there's a little reference with this jar of Granny's sweet tea, or Granny's sweet ice tea, or something like that. And that was made when Lex first asked the senator to ask for the whatever sanction to own the kryptonite, and she denied him. She said something like, well, you know what, you can call it Granny's you can call it Granny's sweet iced tea and be giving me piss or something like that, something to set up that things aren't I don't know, Lex Luthor's playing her or something like that. I don't know, something with the tea and the Granny, and so literally there's a jar of piss sitting and it says Granny's sweet tea because Lex Luthor pissed in the jar and gave it to her as a nod to her mentioning something about you can give me piss and call it Granny's sweet tea or something earlier, but because she knows that Lex Luthor was lying and didn't want to use it as a deterrent, but to kill Superman for whatever fucking reason. So at this hearing, Lex Luthor disappears, but in that wheelchair that he gave that man that worked for Bruce Wayne, it was a bomb. And it blew up, it killed everybody inside the room, even killed Mercy, which is Lex Luthor's bodyguard. I don't know why they killed her off, because she's, a more important, she's a side character, but in Lex Luthor's line of work, like in his little story arc, Mercy Graves is a bigger part to Lex Luthor than they made it seem like in this film, and I was a little disappointed with that. And so, yeah, so that was another frame job by Lex Luthor, framing Superman for the death of all these people inside there, even though it was a bomb, and they said that they even cleared it up and said that it was the man with the wheelchair bombed the meeting rather than, and it wasn't linked to Lex Luthor yet or Superman. But people are on the fence with Superman. They're 50-50. Now this part's important too. Half the world hates Superman, the other half thinks he's a god. And then they're even they're hanging dolls of him, they're burning them alive. You know, I'm getting off track again. I'm getting so off track because it was disappointing. You should have seen my initial reaction. I was smacking shit. I was pacing the floor. I was yelling. I was swearing even more. But I've since calmed down, so this is a more mild review. But let me try to regather myself here. Okay, so yeah, so half the world hates Superman. Hates him. Think he's evil. Bad. Like Batman. Batman thinks Superman's evil. Bad. But anyway, so then back to the fight sequence now. Because now that I introduced Kryptonite, I completely forgot about that. But yeah, Batman stole the Kryptonite from Lex Luthor and then weaponized it into a spear and a gas grenade. Those gas grenades are what dulls Superman's power for a limited time, and that's when in the trailer where you see Batman block Superman's attack, that's because he was hit with the Kryptonite grenade, and that's why. And then Batman starts to pound the shit out of Superman. He beats the living hell out of Superman. And then Superman fights back a little bit, but then Batman hits him with another Kryptonite grenade, and then is about to fucking stab him with this Kryptonite spear. But then he's like, no, they're gonna kill Martha! And then, here it is, the Martha to Martha connection. I have it written down here on all my notes here. The Martha to Martha connection. Batman's mom's name's Martha. Superman's mom's name is Martha. So instead of Batman killing Superman, he's like, how do you know Martha? Who told you the name Martha? How do you know Martha? And then Lois Lane comes trotting in at the last, at the last fucking moment. His mother's name is Martha. Superman's mother's name is Martha. And then Batman's like, but wait, my mom's name is Martha. Your mom's name's Martha? You know what? Fuck it. I'm not going to kill you now. I'm going to go save Martha because that will in turn relieve some of my PTSD, and I will be saving Martha as well as put to rest me saving my mom, Martha. Like in some sort of weird, psychosomatic fucking thing that Batman has in his head about the loss of his parents, especially Martha. So Batman then does not want to kill Superman now. He goes and saves Martha because he realizes that Superman, isn't really the enemy here. That he's being used by Lex Luthor, and Lex Luthor was the bad guy this whole time. And so, moving on from that, Lex Luthor, during all this, is creating Doomsday. Pretty much all it takes to create Doomsday was to take Zod's dead body, dip him in some fucking placenta fluid, some birthing fluid from the crashed ship, which is just left in the middle of Metropolis, okay, yeah, we're just gonna leave it here in the middle of Metropolis to be studied. Alright, fucking whatever. Moving on. I'm spending way too much time here on stuff. So, yeah, so to create Doomsday, apparently all you need to do is dip Zod in this fluid, sprinkle a little bit of Lex Luthor's own, he cuts his own hand open, sprinkles a little blood, and apparently takes control of the ship's AI and says, alright, fuck it, let's just, I want to know the secrets of the fucking, the world, or the galaxy, the universe, whatever the fuck it was, I don't even know, I want to know the secrets of the universe, and then apparently are able to reanimate Zod's body into Doomsday. Boom, Doomsday. Other big spoiler. Fucking ruined the movie. God damn it. Because you only bring Doomsday in the movie for one purpose, and that's to kill Superman. And we'll get to that. But Anyway, while this is all going on, Lois Lane took that spear that Batman threw away and threw it in a pool. But later, she goes back and gets it, but then she gets trapped under the water that she threw it in, and then Superman has to go from battle with Doomsday because he came in, crashing Lex Luthor's plan, and I give you your Doomsday, the worst fucking reveal for a supervillain I have ever seen in my life. I give you your Doomsday. Why did they say that? I don't know. It just seemed, it was piss poor. They should not have done that. Anyway, yeah, Superman saves Lois Lane, who had the kryptonite spear. Meanwhile, while this is all going on, Batman saved Martha. Batman killed people. He was stabbing people. He shot the dude. This dude had a flamethrower to Superman's mom. Shoots the dude's flamethrower. That guy explodes. But apparently, not only is Batman's suit bulletproof, but it's fireproof too. I mean, I've seen that before in what was it, Batman Forever with Val Kilmer, where his suit turns fireproof, and he conceals Superman's mom, so Superman's mom is safe. Meanwhile, then Superman takes Doomsday in the fucking outer space, and they nuke him. The president was like, yeah, you know what, fuck it, nuke them both. Boom, they get nuked. Superman's like kind of dead, but then the sun rejuvenates him. He's back alive again, so he goes back and zooms down where his Doomsday crashed back in Metropolis. Yeah, God, I'm getting way too much in detail with all this shit, but I didn't stick to my notes here, even though I said I would. Yeah. So, crashes down on Earth. Batman, then everybody gets the same idea about the spear. Like Lois was like, oh, let's go get the spear. Or she was like, oh, I'm going to go get the spear. Then Batman's like, alright, I'm going to go take him back to Gotham. We're going to go get the spear that I dropped. Then Superman's like, before Batman even thought about the spear, is like, alright, let's go get the spear. Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, that's what I was thinking. So they all go back, get the spear. Next thing you know, Batman gets shot down by Doomsday. Wonder Woman shows wrists, gauntlets, boom, deflection. And then they all team up, and then it goes into a big fight sequence while Superman then goes and saves Lois, who's drowning with the spear. Then he picks up the spear, takes the spear, somehow was able to fly over and stab Doomsday. But then Doomsday, who had his hand chopped off by fucking Wonder Woman, stabs Superman with a fucking bone that was left that he conjured up after his hand got chopped off, stabs him. Superman has a hole in his chest about this fucking big right in his heart. And apparently, yep, Superman's dead. Boom, biggest spoiler of them all. Superman died. You fucked that up. You fucked up. You can't do that, because now it would have been okay if you did it a few movies down the line, but you're killing him now. Superman's not even that well liked. Like I said, he's 50-50, and you kill him now of all times. Oh my god. You kill him now. It makes no fucking sense. People all of a sudden start to care. They have a mass funeral, but he's not even that prominent of a hero. He's only, these events, they said, are only 18 months after his arrival, after Superman's, like, first appearance. So he's only 18 months into being Superman. He already hit, a lot of people hate him, a lot of people love him, but it's 50-50. Now all of a sudden everybody gives a shit. Like, there's no epicness in this death. There was no emotion, because it's like, who the hell fucking cares? There's nobody to cry over him other than Lois and Superman's mom. Those are the only people who really gave a shit. Anyway, during Superman's funeral, Doomsday's dead, Superman's dead, and during his funeral, Batman's off to the side with Wonder Woman. We need to make a team of those other heroes I saw on the video. We need to make a team. And then they're gonna fight. And then Wonder Woman's like, what makes you think they'll fight? Oh, I have a feeling. Okay, boom, you have a feeling. So you have a feeling, and that just is gonna, okay, let's go create the Justice League off this feeling I have. We don't even know who the fuck we're gonna fight, but, I mean, it's already pretty much been revealed. Darkseid at some point is gonna come down, I guess. But during the Justice League's battles here, Yeah, so they create him. Then Lois Lane takes a little magic dirt, sprinkles a little magic dirt on fucking Clark's coffin. Next thing you know, the coffin shakes, the dirt around him starts to flutter, and then cuts to black. Batman v Superman. The movie's over. Superman's dead, but they're going to resurrect him in some bullshit fashion, probably with either some extra dimensional shit, because Superman, you can't keep him dead if you're going to fucking create a Justice League movie. You can't keep him dead if you're going to bring in Darkseid. You can't keep him dead if you're going to do the Injustice timeline. You can't do that if he's dead. So his fucking coffin vibrates or whatever, so he's not dead, which makes no fucking sense, because, I mean, if it all took was to kill Zod, was to break his neck, and you get impaled by a stake that leaves a gaping hole in your fucking chest that impaled your heart, and you're laying there with your eyes open, a hole in your chest, and you get buried, there's no sun to revive you this time, Clark. Fucking, he's buried, next thing you know, oh, yeah, he wasn't dead. Now, whether it was the fucking Flash traveling time that made the fucking shit vibrate, I don't know. They could do that. They could bring him back with time travel, with the Flash. They could do some extra dimensional type shit. I don't know. Some bullshit excuse they're gonna have to conjure up in the film. In the future films. In the future Justice League that they keep setting up now. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I pretty much broke down the movie to the most to the most bullshit parts of the movie, and all this is full of plot holes. There's no reasoning behind any of it. Breaking point was when the Flash first showed up in that dream. The dream sequence was unnecessary because, like I said, this whole movie is a setup. That dream is setting up future events for more movies. The reveal of all the new heroes is a setup for more movies. But what happens is if you kill Superman now, you cannot kill him again later on. They had the funeral, Superman's dead, it's on papers. Nobody really gives a shit, because like I said, he's not even that prominent of a hero. But Superman's dead, you can't kill him again. So if they bring in Darkseid can't kill him. It'd be interesting to see the Darkseid brainwash Superman to do whatever. I'd be interested in that, but now that the fact that they fucking killed him off here, I don't know how they're going to bring him back. It's going to be some bullshit way, I'm sure. But yeah, they killed him. They have to bring him back now somehow in the future films, because you cannot have Justice League without Superman. Not only is he one of the founding members of the Big Seven, he's like pretty much of the triangle of the three. They even make it a reference to the apex of the movie, like a triangle. Lex Luthor says it's a triangle of the movie. Fucking pretty much, Batman, Wonder Woman, Superman. Those are the biggest three heroes on the Justice League. You have the leading woman, which is Wonder Woman. You have the leading female character. Then you have Batman and Superman, the two most prominent DC superheroes in DC Comics history. Some of the longest standing ones, too. And so, you killed them. You're going to have to bring them back some bullshit way. I don't know. But yeah, plot holes, too much references, too much setup, too much setting up. With the ending funeral scene okay, we're going to create a team. Yeah, where have I fucking heard that one before? I'm putting together a special team with special abilities. Yeah, fucking, it's only been done a few times already. But, Justice League forms, Superman supposedly resurrected somehow towards the end of that movie. Well, I'm going to just quickly refresh what I thought was good about the movie. The action scenes were really good. The fighting scene. The actual Batman vs. Superman part was kick-ass. Every action scene that included Batman was bad-ass. Even though Batman killed people for whatever fucking reason, I don't know. Comment about it. Why do you fucking want Batman killing people? I don't know. I wasn't too happy nor upset with that, because it's a different Batman. They're allowed to go in a different route, so I'm not upset with that. That wasn't what upset me. This movie would probably be good for people who aren't comic fans. I thought, generally, yeah, if I was to take my parents probably would have come out and said, that was a good movie, because the action was great. The music, Hans Zimmer did a great job. as usual, Hans Zimmer always does an exceptional job. The effects were great. There were, emotional parts. The acting wasn't bad, except for the Jesse Eisenberg being Lex Luthor part. I don't know. You can comment about that as well. If you've already seen it, if you haven't seen the movie, and I spoiled the movie for you, I'm sorry, but it was as a comic fan, no, everything they did was wrong. They went about it a completely different avenue that I wish they hadn't. But if you were just a regular bystander who's looking for an overall review of the movie, it was a pretty good movie. Other than the fact that, the mechanics of the movie were good, the action, the music, the acting was pretty good. There's the little snidbits of clever dialogue that Lex Luthor had, which I thought were really nice. Those were all good. But the overall plot line, the story, is full of so many fucking holes. Like I said, you could call it fucking Swiss cheese. Anyway, if I had to grade this movie, I'd give it about a C minus. As a comic fan, if I was just a regular movie fan and I didn't care about the story, because the effects, the acting, the music, everything was pretty good there, you could give it a B plus A, because some of the acting was a little iffy at parts, but it was overall pretty good. But yeah, I almost forgot a small piece, or I guess it's not really a small piece, but when Superman said that Lois Lane was my whole world and everything, Clark's dad, Kevin Costner, shows up in a hallucination or a vision of some sort. There's so many dream sequences in this movie. I get confused and I got lost and I even forgot about it here. But yeah, I got so lost at that. He talks about how Kevin Costner thinks that Clark's mom is his world, it's his everything, and that's how then Clark thinks of Lois is his world, his everything, and that was a correlation I forgot to mention back, because I said I'd mention it later, and I completely forgot, because I got so off track, off topic with all this other shit. But that happened, so I just thought to throw that in there, so I hopefully did not forget it. I probably missed a lot of other stuff, because, like I said, I get too emotionally involved with how this movie was done. I was disappointed from a comic standpoint. I was disappointed at that. But, yeah. Batman v Superman, everybody. Sorry it's not the best quality video that you've seen. I'm working on it. I'm going to be purchasing a green screen. I'm going to be getting a decent camera for this summer. So this webcam and boring kind of just face-to-face thing will not be in the future. This will not be in the future. I'm working on it. Money's a little tight, and I'm saving up, paying for college and all this other stuff, phone bill, and typical shit. I'm a college student, so money's low. So I gotta keep it in the budget, and I'm working on it right now. So hopefully we get better here as a channel. I'm really trying to improve. I don't know. Comment comment your own opinions. Comment different opinions. I want to hear your different opinions. If you think I was wrong on something, call me out on it. If you have a different opinion than I do, give it to me, because I'd like to hear what you guys think of the movie. But I mean, this wasn't really a review, more of a reaction, a mild reaction, because like I said, this is take 3. I was up at 4 in the morning yelling about this movie. I'm surprised I didn't wake up my parents. So I'm back from spring break, and they probably missed all the quiet, the quiet peace and quiet. So I'm sitting down here yelling at 4 o'clock in the morning. And then I tried to do another review, which was more mild as well, but here's this one, the third one. I'm just super tired. I exhausted all my emotional energy. I might post that as like an initial reaction, but this was the spoilers, kind of a review, reaction to the film, and I hope that you guys stuck with me through the end here, and I really thank you for watching. And you know what? I'd like to see you next time.